The International Christian Embassy Jerusalem is your embassy in the heart of Israel, founded in 1980. From our headquarters in Jerusalem through our branches in over 80 nations and yours in Canada, we seek to challenge the Church to take up its scriptural responsibilities, to remind Israel of the promises made to her in the Bible, and to be a source of practical assistance to all the people in the land of Israel.
Into an area that was actually lower in height than the spring. Till those days, this was the source for 1,000 years. Hezekiah actually took all the water in a channel you can walk through with lights that actually take us underneath the hill of the city of David, winding and winding to the other end, to the pool of Siloam.
So, Oren, you just brought us through the tunnel, and right now we're at the eastern side of the old city of David. Tell us what we're seeing here now.
We actually went down the Kidron Valley, the eastern part of the city, and you can easily see the steep slope climbing up. This is where the city was built. And what you can actually see behind me, this long wall of small or some of the bigger stones, this is actually the ruin of the stone walls, fortification walls of the city from the days of the Bronze Age, before David, but into the First Temple period till the days of Hezekiah, 2,700 years back. And in those days, what actually happened down this valley was that the Assyrian army was approaching Jerusalem. The people were really frightened. What's gonna happen? Are they gonna win? Hezekiah was getting ready, building fortifications, getting the underground tunnel, diverting all the water in Hezekiah's tunnel. And the prophet Isaiah stands maybe on those walls or maybe somewhere in chapter 37. He says this: "The king of Assyria, he will not enter this city. He will not shoot an arrow, will not bring up shields. He will not build a ramp. By the same way he came, he shall return home. Into this city he will not enter." Because the Assyrian forces were mighty forces. Everyone is so scared of them. But one night, as the next verses tell us, when the siege is almost there, some plague or some angel, something hit the Assyrian camp. They doubled back, turned around, went back home. Jerusalem, with these walls, stayed independent. We arrived at the pool of Siloam, but actually originally the name was slightly different. The name mentioned in the Bible, in the Hebrew, would be Shiloach, which means connected with sending, diverting. And that was where the water was diverted by Hezekiah, and inside the tunnel the workers were nice enough to leave an inscription, a sign. This was found inside. The original is in Istanbul, Turkey, was found in the 19th century. But this inscription actually tells us of two groups of quarrymen, one beginning at the edge of this pool over there, the other at the spring where we were before, tunneling one towards each other, a total of a third of a mile long tunnel, bringing all the water into a big pool where it was sent. So this is a place from the First Temple period already. But if you look at the floor, at the area around you, at all these stones, these are from the Second Temple period. 2004, when this was excavated, what actually happened here is they started going down through the layers and found these steps, found these stones and said, wow, understood, this is the pool of the Second Temple period. And then said, okay, let's continue deeper down, let's find the First Temple period one. Archaeologists in charge here said, stop. You want the people to miss this? We're really curious what the First Temple period one looks like. But they stopped right here and let us at least sit and see the stairs. We're next to a corner, and the steps actually lead into this huge open garden that is private property and wasn't excavated. What we have is just this side, but just by this side, we can get a basic idea of a very large pool. In the painting right here, we are at the corner. And the steps right here are these. The steps on this side are these. And it continues behind me. Just to get the basic idea of size, you can fit an Olympic swimming pool inside this thing. This is a huge pool from approximately 2,000 years ago, because this is what we're standing on, from around the 1st century Common Era. And here a very important story was actually ongoing, taking us to a man that was blind. This blind man never saw a thing. And he met someone else that spat onto the floor, took a little dirt with spit on, put it on his eyes and said, bathe in the pool of Siloam, or Shiloach, where people take a bath. Of course, this man was a blind man. He was sent by Jesus to maybe bathe in a bath right here. So was this a ritual bath? Was this just a bathtub? Or a very large bathtub? Anyways, this is a place where people got water for apparently laundry and cleaning and bathing. And it was used by many visitors arriving. And of course, in such a basic big place with thousands of people around, this is a place to get ceremonies and people gathering in those days as well. So this is the big pool of Siloam that later on its name changed again, and it became Siloam, which is actually the name of the neighborhood right next to us. In many places, the Arab name still reminds us of names from thousands of years back. It might be a little bit confusing because you see a ceiling above my head, but you need to imagine it open to the sky. I'm on top of a street. These are steps climbing up from this pool of Siloam down below, up through a valley, reaching the area of the Temple Mount. And these steps, underneath them, there's a little drainage channel. Now we know of drainage channels that exist, but the amazing thing when this was discovered in the last 8-9 years is that they found inside the drainage channel 2 cooking pots, fully intact, never broken. Apparently they were full of food, but that isn't there yet anymore. And what actually happened right here is that they found remains that tell us of someone that was hiding underneath me inside a drainage channel. Very small, just a few feet in height, place to hide with your family, food, whatever you need. Coins were found on the floor. Coins from the Jewish revolt against the Romans, years 66 to 70 Common Era. And everyone said, okay, what's going on here? They opened the book of Flavius Josephus, named The Jewish Wars, a book of a Jewish historian written right after the destruction in the years 70 and 80, first century. And there he tells us that Jewish rebels saw the temple destroyed, saw the Roman soldiers breaking into the city, destroying, smashing, but they came from the north. We're in the far south. In other words, people said, wait a minute, let's save our lives. How can we survive? Nowhere to get out, under siege. Inside a drainage system, people started to hide. And what the amazing thing here is that not only is Josephus Flavius telling us of these people hiding and the remains of their cooking vessels found inside, also the Romans smashed the street. In this location, just in several yards of this area discovered, you can see holes. In total, 5 holes. That the Romans smashed the street, looking for people hiding underneath. What they left for us is just a few coins and a few cooking pots left behind from the year 70 Common Era. Part of these rebels maybe managed to get their way to Masada. Others, I don't know. But we're on a marketplace street that was also a place of destruction of the city. This place was found covered by piles of ruins of the houses and shops along the street that fell upon us. In the excavation, they took almost everything away, except these few stones, just as a little memory of what rolled onto us from around.
100% of what we receive from you toward a project goes to that designation. Through your contribution to ICEJ Canada, you can participate by giving to Bet Singer Children's Orphanage Bathrooms, Christian Friends of Yad Vashem, Home for Holocaust Survivors, Israeli Youth at Risk Summer Camp in Canada, Operation Life Shield Bomb-Proof Shelters, Red Carpet Project Women at Risk in Tel Aviv, Shoulder to Shoulder New Immigrant Partner Project, Women's Shelter Project, General Fund, Gift Estate Securities Funds, ICEJ Communication Media Fund.